So I thought I'd start doing some stories on here, just kind of things from my life. I don't have a ton of stories, but there are some interesting things, and I thought that might be kind of fun. And this is one of those stories where you kind of have this feeling like, did that really happen? And yeah, it did, but it's kind of nutty. So let's kind of go back to the 2000s. So back then, we didn't have smartphones. We didn't have any of this stuff. So unfortunately, I don't think this was taped. If anyone had a camcorder, I don't think they recorded this, but I think it was in about eighth grade, and I was pretty good fiddler. I kind of had started in in fifth grade, and I started taking some private lessons and got really into fiddling. And my teacher given me this piece called Cajun Cookin', and I did it in the seventh grade, orchestra concert, and it went pretty well. So people knew that I could do some fiddling and stuff. So I think the next year I had a geography teacher named Mr. Smith came up and he said, Zach, boy, I love that Orange Blossom special. I'd love to hear you play that. And I said, well, it just so happens I had this, what we call WSMA here in Wisconsin, had this competition where it's not really a competition, but it's where people play solos and they get, like a score on it. And they had this kind of dumb version of Orange Blossom Special for it. It was real lame. So I'm like, yeah, I just bring my violin and play. And he's like, better yet, why don't we make an assembly for you? And everyone in your grade can come and watch you play. And I was like, yeah, why not? Well, I thought I kind of knew what I was doing at that point because I had this orchestra concert where I played the solo, I think went pretty well. So I met with the choir teacher who played piano. And she was in my violin teacher's Irish band. She actually played button box, which is like a little concertina type instrument. And I was talking to her, and we're like, well, I knew not only Orange Blossom Special, but I had like fiddle tunes like Tam Lin, Cooley's Reel, Blarney Pilgrim, Irish Washerwoman. So we put together like maybe a 10-minute concert. And I think we rehearsed whatever the day was that we were supposed to do it. I don't know what was in my brain that day, whether it was just like the idea of playing for my peers, which sometimes can be harder than playing for a bunch of older folks and parents, or what, but I could not get through any of these pieces. I'd start them and then I'd make some mistake, like it was a mental block, and then I'd stop and I'd swear. And I don't know, I don't think it was like F bombs, but it's probably like SHIT and G gosh darn it, but not gosh darn it. And the choir director, she was like, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. And she was getting mad because I think we'd try a piece. I'd stop and I'd swear. And she's like, Zach, you got to keep going. And I'm like, well, I keep messing up. And she's like, doesn't matter, just keep going. And we kind of, get through everything. And I think she assumed that once I got on stage and kind of knew how serious the situation would be, that I just keep going no matter what, which usually is the case, but I had established a pattern in my brain that was very, very hard to break. So being an overconfident middle schooler as I was, I thought, oh yeah, I'm playing really well. I can do an assembly in front of my, I want to show off what I can do, and starts filling up with people. I know that I was having trouble getting through those pieces. And realistically, the best scenario would be just mess them up. It was probably fine. I played them a million times before. And even if I had big mistakes, then I'm a middle schooler. No one's going to care. They'd be like, oh my God, it's so nice. Right. And the kids would be like, oh, it's cool. Right. They don't know anything. It wasn't like some big orchestra school I was going to, just normal middle school. So as you might imagine, it goes about as planned. Every piece that I played, that I tried to play, I should say, I never finished one. I maybe halfway through, make a mistake and drop some sort of expletive loudly. I tried it on everything. And this was like in front of my whole class. And it wasn't like soft. It was like, gosh, I mean, I would just like swear. You think that I get in trouble for that. And I just was thinking about that all these years later. I was like, that seems like it would be against school rules. But strangely enough, it was one of these situations that I think everyone just wanted it. It's like, let's not talk about that ever again. It was an absolute disaster. And so it just kind of went away. And there wasn't phones or anything. And it's just one of those wild things where you think about years later, it's like, huh, that was really strange. That was a strange thing. That doesn't happen every day. And so the saddest part is when I'm kind of walking out and I see Mr. Smith and he just kind of has this look like, yeah, maybe keep working on that Orange Blossom special. And I was like, oh no. The only thing that kind of came of it is like a couple kids came up to me and said, man, you really wasted our time. And that was kind of a bummer, hearing that. But otherwise, no one really talked about it. When I went to high school, I think I went to high school the next year, I just forgot about it. I might have told the story a few times, but no one really gave me a hard time about it that bad. It was just like, and life went on. It's like I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get suspended or anything for just like, the school gave me a platform to just swear in an assembly. And it was just like, I guess people just didn't know what to do. It's like obvious that I wasn't trying to do it maliciously. So I guess they just said, this was a bad idea. Let's just forget about this. And that's that. And in those days, you could kind of do that. Not anymore. There'd be somebody recording it now. I'd love to see that. If that actually existed, I'd love to see that recording because it would be amazing. I'd post it myself if it existed. A few years ago, I might be embarrassed, but now it's like, nah, that'd be funny. But as far as I know, no one was recording it. It was kind of a hassle to record things. You had to use a tape camera back then. Not like impossible. I have recordings. I think I got on the recording the good performance somewhere because we had an old tape camera, but this was during the school day and no one had their, we're talking about like a big camera you had to take with you, so wasn't happening. But yeah, I mean, my advice to you young people, if you're got something going on like that, just keep going, just like my teachers told me. Don't do that. Your teachers might not be as friendly as mine, and just let it go. And right now, in this day and age, probably be put on the internet. So if you don't want that to happen, just keep going. No one's probably going to care if you flub some notes. It happens every day. But people will notice if you're starting to drop, like F-bombs. Although I don't specifically remember dropping F-bombs. It could have happened. I was definitely saying SHIT a lot, and it's kind of like one of those gamer rage moments. Imagine gamer rage with violins. I almost wouldn't believe it if I wasn't there. And there's still some folks around that remember. I have teachers, I still play, Mr. Smith works at one of the churches I'll play at, and the funny thing is one day, this is maybe about 5-6 years ago, I go in for a piano rehearsal, and Mr. Smith, he works there. He's a part of the congregation. He also does some maintenance, so he was in there, and I brought it up to him, and he was very nice about it. And I said, "Hey, I can do that Orange Blossom special now." But it was like it was really early in the morning, and I was very tired. And my buddy was there, my pianist. We're doing a violin piano concert, and I play it for him, and it's fine, I guess. But it's like now I've gotten degrees in this. And it kind of sounded a little bad by my standards. And I'm like, man, this is a curse. I'm cursed. I can't play the Orange Blossom Special for Mr. Smith. And I think he liked it. He's like, oh yeah, sounds good. And probably he thought it was fine, but I was like, man, I can do so much better than that. It's just like, it ain't going to happen. It ain't happening. It's like, I didn't stop and swear. It just was like my hands were like rock solid. It was like, you know, it's crunching a few notes, but it was for authenticity's sake. Like, that's how the old fiddlers played it, but not really. But if you like this, I got a few more stories. Not quite as bizarre as that, but some real nice ones. I'll probably make some videos on that. So don't go out and swear now. Talk to you later. Bye.